Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's office hours. Today we'll be talking about debugging and giving you a little bit of debugging tips and also walking through the problem that Ben is facing with his forwarder agent and see if we can help him troubleshoot the issue. Craig, do you want to get started and talk about general debugging and give some tips on that?
Yeah. So let me get up an environment that I've been playing with, and we can do some of that. So one of the things with VOLTTRON is that you can develop it in a lot of different environments, whether you're using a Raspberry Pi or on Windows, you can run it in a terminal, a WSL based container. You can run it through Docker. What I've found that has worked really well with me is to work on a WSL Docker environment using a Visual Studio Code from my Windows machine. So in just a second here, I will show you what that looks like. Okay, so I am currently working on the VOLTTRON 8.2 with 2030.5 kind of loaded, but there's a couple different things when you're developing an agent or developing against the platform. In Visual Studio, or Visual Studio Code, it's really nice because you have the ability to debug not only using WSL distributions, like I have different distributions. I have an 1804, a 2204, and a 2004 as a Linux distribution that is able to be run under. But you can also use remote debugging. So I can connect to a secondary host, and then I can debug. I can connect this Visual Studio environment directly to that secondary machine, and then I can debug and do all of the same stuff that I would do here on this local Windows machine. I can debug it there instead. Like I can SSH into VC and then move around, and the shell will connect to the shell on VC, etc. So those are some of the things that I like about Visual Studio, and PyCharm can do the same thing, but it's clunkier, and the debugging is not as smooth as it is here in PyCharm or in Visual Studio Code. With that said, PyCharm is set up so that you can run things directly. With Visual Studio, you have to set up your interpreter and make sure that your environment is set up to run things correctly. In here, I've got a whole bunch of different ways of running systems. So I have the web demo that we saw. I have been debugging VCTL when I wanted to install Force or whatever. And these are all configurations that are available to you by just adding a new event or a new thing here. with debugging, you can debug both the client side and the server side through visuals, through your environment, whether that be PyCharm or otherwise. So for this, I'm just going to add a new one of these, and we're going to debug these. Let's do VOLTTRON. So we want VOLTTRON to be run. And actually, let's do it this way. I'll show you how. If we just come down here and add a new configuration and click on Python, and you can debug by Python file or module. So if we did module and we did VOLTTRON, so that generated us this Python module block right here. I'm going to change that to VOLTTRON-VV. Module name is VOLTTRON. The args that we're going to pass it are the -VV and the working directory. It's going to be our workspace. And because we want G-event support, we need to add that as our as an environmental flag. So G-event support is how the interpreter knows that we want to use, we want to allow G-event threads in the environment. It will throw a hissy fit if we don't add that. All right, so then you see that it's VOLTTRON PV. VOLTTRON PV is right up here, and now we should be able to run our VOLTTRON. No mud in the name. VOLTTRON is a package. All right, so VOLTTRON. Nothing like doing this on the fly, right? Anyways, okay, so we're gonna run it like this, and back to our debug, and now we should be able to run our whatchamacallit, our program, and as you can see, it starts up with these, but it needs some more information in order to get it to run. Oh boy. Well, let's do one final test, and we'll be able to do it like this. Let's do, just do given. There we go. So now we have VOLTTRON running with our offload thing that we're going to set. So let's just do that right now. So this comes up and it does a whole bunch of offloading, right? This is just a whole bunch of logging that we have discovered that we don't like. And I've already got VOLTTRON running on this machine. So let me stop that real quick. All right, so I stopped that, and now we can actually come in, and what we'll do is we'll change this auth code so that it doesn't have this just lasting of auth entries that happens. All right. So what we can do is we can come in here and look at our VOLTTRON platform main. And we can see that we have this log level info for some of these things. And what it does is it changes the log level to info. Well, that doesn't really help us because these are at log level info, right? So what we need to do is we need to look at VOLTTRON platform auth. Right? So starting from our tree, we have VOLTTRON, we have platform, we come into auth, and then we have auth. So this is where our logging is happening right here. This is the beginning of that log, because all of in VOLTTRON, the standard log name looks like this. So what we can do is we can just change this, and I believe it's set level logging, and let's go to 1. And the new one is warning rather than warn. I don't know why they needed to change it, but that's what we did. So we're going to set this log level to be warn, and then we'll run this again, and hopefully this will just show us a lot less offloading stuff happening. And as you can see from that, there is a whole lot less being added to our log. And we still have something found that shouldn't be. Let's try again. All right, so that's much better. So we have now fixed that issue. And so what do we do now? If you're a committer to the VOLTTRON, actually this is 8.2. So as long as you signed up with the Eclipse Foundation as a committer, and signed the usage agreement, we can accept a pull request from you. So what you do is you pull down the latest develop branch, create a branch off of your fork, and then we can push it up and create a pull request. Let's not do that today. What? Hello.
I think somebody's just unmuted. Tiffy, could you mute yourself? Or I don't know who it is.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so
Kathy,
now
yourself. Hold on, Greg. Kathy and
Yep.
Dan, can you please mute? Dave as well.
Oh, I'm hardware muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you mute yourself, Kathy?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's if we want to play with that is if we want to debug a platform, we can set breakpoints. Say we want to look at our frame handling here.
I've got a meeting.
So we can look at VOLTTRON platform main, and you see that it says handling subsystems with frames, right? So we can Control H, handling subsystem. You see that that's happening here, and we can put a breakpoint, and we run BCTL status or something like that. It will break, and we'll be able to see it. So let's do that. So add a bash terminal here. Yeah, we do PC status, no agents was installed. So this is not the right spot. This is in the router. Anyways, install examples, listener agent. Install a listener agent, see what happens. PCTL start E. And so we can see that why is this thing working the way I anticipated it would? So I am thinking that this is because it's in a separate thread for some reason, and the thread is not allowing it to go through for some reason, which is weird. I've done this before. Sometimes with threading, there we go. Okay, so we receive that. That's on start. You can debug your agents, your server-side agents and whatnot, and that's how that works. Some of this stuff you can't debug because of the thread issues and differences and whatnot.
I think since it runs in a separate thread, I think the breakpoint is not working.
Yeah, I think so too.
Figure out how to set breakpoints in that thread. But
Right.
at this point, probably we can, take a step back and ask questions on to everybody. Are there any specific things that you wanted to know from us from debugging perspective? Ben, I know you brought up this issue. So, do you use an editor to debug any problems that you're facing? How do you typically debug?
Yeah, I use a VS Code. Um, I'm definitely not as advanced as Craig is here. Like I need to learn like or start using like the built-in debugging features that VS Code has. I think it would help me.
No. So this, whatever we are doing is helpful, right? And it's being recorded, so you can debug your agents using VS Code.
I've mostly been just like doing everything on the fly, like on our edge device. Like basically I'll create an agent and then through like a separate and like a terminal, just looking at the log files for my like print statements and errors and just using less basically to kind of find where my code is breaking and kind of restarting things and resorting back to the log file and finding it. Okay, it's kind of clunky, but
Yeah, that's
So
style.
yeah, let's talk about a better way. So you can debug your agents, and for this, we're just going to use the listening agent as a guinea pig here because we like the listening agent. Right? There's this in the VOLTTRON repository. There's this PyCharm launch script, which basically will run any script, any agent. What it does is it adds identities and stuff to the running platform and allows it to just automatically create it for you in a debug environment. So if I want this to be listener, I pass the agent identity and then I should be able to have the listener agent just run. And so by default, it sets up that it's agent config would be /config by default. That's something that I specified when I built the thing. So you can set up an environmental variable for agent config. You can set up another environmental variable that uses the VOLTTRON home. And then you can debug this particular one without having to do all the less, more, whatever for your output, unless you need to integrate with some other agent, and it matters where the output goes. But we can see that when we come into our listener agent, and basically the agent is designed to print everything that comes out on the message bus, and there's a heartbeat period, and there's different log levels. So what we can do is we can put a breakpoint in the on match and see that happened, and then we can look at values and watches, and we can add a new watch. Maybe you want to see what set filter or set under filters is, so you can come in do self filters, and we see that that's devices. So if topic in X or message, then we go ahead and print it, and we can debug the different areas. In my code, it's you can step over different things. You can go into step into things. So we can step over, and then it will go up to pub sub and the prefix and blah, blah, blah. So this is how I use the debugger. And then you can just continue and it will pop up with the next breakpoint. You can see we can switch between different. Currently, I've got two things executing. We have the listener agent and the VOLTTRON. We can break the VOLTTRON into wherever it is. And right now it's in this receiver block. And we can continue. And it will just continue right along with the execution. You can do the same thing with the listener. And maybe we want to see what it's doing. So we step over, we step into the different states. You can go down to the socket, blah, 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 whatever you need to do. Yeah, that's a very whirlwind tour of how I use this to debug the VOLTTRON environment and different agents.
And that's just built into VS Code, right? Like there's nothing.
Actually, so you do need some extensions. That's a good point. Let's see, what do I have? I have, so there's locally installed, and then there's installed on the Ubuntu. So I have Pylance, Autodoc Stream, I got some Talmud file stuff, Git Essentials, and the different Python things that I use. Markdown Previewer, this was really cool when I was building the using Mermaid and whatnot. I've got the Python one, Poetry. So it's built in, but it's built in through the plugin system, or extensions. One of the other cool things that I've found is this GitLance, or not GitLance, but GitLens, and it adds a lot of functionalities. Like you can see that this is the only repository that I have. You can see the file history on things that you can see. Okay, so this was from release 0.2. You have different branches that are on your local as well as up to GitHub. I have currently got 2 remotes set, which means that I can push and pull directly from upstream or origin. And upstream is always the main. My origin is my fork of the main. That's generally the way we like to have things set up, such that if you check something in and push, it goes to your origin. You can look at the different stashes, and then you can pull things out of the stash on a by file basis, or by line diff basis, which is really handy. And there's some other stuff too, but that's one of my later, my last things that I found. There's also, with the modular, this becomes more important and easier to deal with, but there's also a PyTest plugin that comes in, and this will expand and show all of your tests, and you can run do the runners directly in Visual Studio Code. And one of the last things that I've been trying is using Codium AI, which is an interesting thing. It uses OpenAI ChatGPT to automatically generate unit tests for your code. And I'll talk about that maybe if you wanted to talk about it later in future things. I'm not really 100% sold on it but I'm testing it out just to see how it works. So
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. What I have actually been using ChatGPT for is to generate plant UML diagrams from different code snippets and whatnot that I've got, and that's pretty cool. It'll spit out the markdown for your plant UML and mermaid tags for you. So conversions from one text format to another is really seems to work pretty well.
Can you touch on that again with the plant UML? Like, will it generate the plant UML code for you
Yeah.
to then go to their website and then you plop it in and you can download the image?
It will do that. It will. So say you have what's bad about it is if I wanted to do this one, right? So I select all, and then because this might be a huge file, this is like a huge file, right? What is it? There's a maximum input that you can give it. But for class diagrams and whatnot, if you can extract just the classes and members, it'll take care of that and put it out for you. I've also looked into generating some of the class docs for different things, and that seems to work okay too. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Maybe in a later office hours, you can demonstrate the ChatGPT test.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to see that too.
Share your findings. Ben, do you want to take over and show the problem that you're facing with forwarder agent?
Oh, sure. Okay.
See if we can help you troubleshoot it.
Okay. You guys see this?
Yep.
So basically, I've learned the hard way that if I publish a string to the message bus, that it'll seize up like all the data flow to the VOLTTRON central instance. Yeah, so it's basically myself being very slow to catch on, or like getting
Did you
data into the database, and then
did you see the email response that I gave you on this particular setup?
yeah, I think I skimmed it. To be honest, I can't remember exactly. You did give me a bunch of tips in there.
Yeah, so we can go through it. Number one, the calcs pub string. If you control click on that on line 787.
Go to the reference.
No, on 787.
Okay. Yeah.
The one that's not commented out. If you control click or right click on it and go to reference, that would work too. Really?
It's not working.
Okay, right click on just the name. And you see what it says. All right, just scroll up. We'll find it.
Look where I'm
Um,
defining that, you're saying?
Yeah, in my editor, just control clicking will make it will go to where that is actually located. But it can't find the reference for some reason, so we'll just scroll up because it's in your index, right?
It's up here.
So your topic is self.building topic plus the Wi-Fi prefix / analysis / blah 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 / all, right? And
Yep.
if you look at building topic, what is building topic? Building topic is devices slipstream. Okay, so the first thing, we know we're publishing under devices, right? So that means there's a specific format. And we know that we're publishing an all message because the last 3 characters of your thing is all.
Mhm.
I have a question about why you surround that string with parentheses. Line 88 and 90, you put parentheses there for some reason, and I'm curious about it. If it doesn't change it, and that's great, unless you put a comma at the end, then it's a tuple.
Here?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Why
my
is it-
my formatter did that. Black, I think the black formatting
Really?
did that
Okay.
automatically.
Well,
Like,
fair
like
enough.
if this is too long, I've noticed that
It-
on some of the other stuff that it'll do that.
That's weird. Okay, fair enough. Then let's go back down to it. Anyways, so you have a big long string, right? That is calc's pub string. All right.
Yep.
So because you're under devices, you have to have the correct format, which is the format for devices is you have to have the message has to have a list with it's a 2-element list that is a dictionary on both sides.
Right here, right. Okay, so
Uh,
that's a format requirement for devices.
or
This-
for the devices, all message, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
The
your
historians
pub.
the historians subscribe to devices topics and they attempt to parse them, assuming that they are formatted this way. That's why it's locking up that agent.
Yep.
It will actually accept just one dictionary, I believe. I posted the topic syntax in the chat. Yeah, but the better convention is the list of 2 dictionaries as he's describing.
Like some of our research projects, like if we I read stuff from the actuator agent, like the sensor values from our backnet system, and then make
Mhm.
some calculations, and then it would be real nice to kind of view that stuff in Grafana. So so now we know how to do that. So like I'll just follow the same syntax under the analysis topic.
But that's the analysis topic has the same thing. And analysis and device data are both meant to be plottable. They both have to be numeric values,
Yep.
and they have to have the 2 dictionaries, or at least the 1 dictionary. They might be right. We might have made the without metadata. So your list has to have the so based on this documentation, Dave, it says that it doesn't have to be a list.
It does not. It will accept a single dictionary.
Okay. I don't remember that
that's
actually happening.
That's what I was saying. It'll accept
okay.
either a list of 2 dictionaries, one data, one metadata, or a single data dictionary.
which means that your percent OA pub would work just fine, or it should work just fine. But not this one that's commented out.
Yeah,
It has
that's
the
where
percent OA, blah, blah, blah.
that's I published.
It can't be in a list though, if it's a single dictionary.
Yeah, which is he's got it, yeah. The
This
on
will seize up
811,
some- Yeah,
811, get rid of the brackets on the outside of that.
okay.
If it's a list, it will expect 2 elements. If it is a
what?
dictionary, it expects it to be point data pairs.
Got it. This appears to be working though. If it's working, should I keep it?
If it works, it may be more tolerant than the documentation says.
Yeah.
But
This is where it's in 2 spots. I published some.
if, by the way, you do need to publish free-form things, that it's not convenient to put it into this syntax, and you still need it to be forwarded somewhere else and things like that, you can simply use the record topic, which
Okay.
will send it all as a string. Your string will work if it's published with record / at the beginning. It may be harder to parse someplace. Yeah,
But
because
that's
it will
up to
just
you.
get stored
Yeah.
in the database as a string.
Yeah.
But you do have that option. You can also tell the forwarder to use other top level topics if you need it passed
This,
someplace else. And those will probably get treated as records. Is that
Okay.
correct?
It depends upon how you configure the system. But yes,
Yeah,
in
I don't
general,
remember.
they will.
It's been a long.
You can set up whatever topic you want to be forwarded in one on. And it will, if
And
it's,
you can always
and you can
extend,
specify
right?
what type it is too, and you can extend it as well.
Yeah, you can
But-
extend and create a small historian and have your own topic syntax handler as long and you can add that as a custom topic. So you can configure saying this is a new topic prefix that I want historian to subscribe to. And this is the handler method it needs to go to parse. And that handler method knows how to parse that. And then once you do that, yeah, your forwarder can be configured to forward that custom topic. Yeah,
Which would allow you to save it however you want
however you want.
on
Yeah.
the receiving end.
Don't know that Ben's going to be doing that anytime soon, but that's good to know.
It's possible. But if you publish under devices, you must follow the device syntax.
Good to know. This took me forever to like figure out how to get from here and then in Grafana to like to basically to go into here and find it. Like I think someone else could probably catch on to it a lot faster than me, but to like find there's my data, I'll just follow this same thing. Once I can get one to work, this will work for anything I need to plot some numerical data.
If you follow the device syntax and you use either device or analysis as the first one, your topic name in your database will be the topic / point name for each item in the dictionary, where the key was the point name.
That's this.
So the page that I posted in the chat is your friend. That's my favorite documentation page, because it tells you exactly what format to put it in for different top level topics.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. I guess the only other question that I have, like, if I can get this to work, like I think I can duplicate it anywhere else. It's like, if I do accidentally seize up this forwarding agent, like the SQL database, how do you clear that out so you can kind of restart and get data flowing again? Is there documentation on that?
So there's 2 ways to do it. number one is brute force method, which is basically restarting the forwarder. Or not restarting, reinstalling the forwarder. And that
You have
will,
to do all the authentication again to your central instance, right? If you have a central instance.
if you save the keys out, then and put them back, no. Because you can
Yeah.
do that. Or you go into your VOLTTRON home under the agent's data directory and remove the database. Remove the SQLite cache.
Can you see that in here?
No,
Or that's something.
it's under .voltron, your .voltron agents directory.
Okay, see that.
It's under your VOLTTRON home. So your VOLTTRON home is tilde VOLTTRON, right?
.voltron.
There you go. Agents, under the agents directory. And then whatever your
Whichever one
agent
is your
happens to
forwarder.
be.
Well,
Yeah.
one of these is my forwarding agent, and then I would just, what would I do? Delete this?
Open it, expand it.
Yeah.
There's your forwarder. Under forwarder, you have the agent data directory. Inside that, there's a backup SQLite. Delete that, and it will, the next time. So you're going to want to shut the forwarder down and then
Yep.
delete that file and then start the forwarder again.
Okay. Well, it's nice to know. And then fix whatever I did, like in here.
Yeah, and fix whatever
Restart
you did.
that.
Yes.
Right. Then delete it out, and then I can. Okay. No, this is cool.
Yep. That is the cache that it keeps before it sends it across the network, so that if there's a disruption, it doesn't lose things.
And
when you-
all of you,
When
all
you
of
restart
your,
it, the problem is still in your cache, so it will still fail
Yeah.
if you don't delete it.
and all of your databases has one of these
Mhm.
caches for it. So depending upon whether you put something and it did actually get over, it could have gotten to that other cache and crashed that database. So it just depends where.
We've had a few times where our central instance got locked up. I can't remember why. It was like just like a memory issue or something. Like we just got more memory added to the virtual machine. But so like if this edge device disconnects from the central instance, this will start caching data, right?
Yep.
And then once they reestablish communication, it'll start updating records as much as it can.
Yep.
Will this edge device crash if it runs out of memory? Like, will it fill it up all the way till it can't fill it up anymore?
There are settings for the forwarder agent to allow it to handle those gracefully, but you'd have to look into the configuration file because there and consult the documentation for that, because there is a bunch of different settings that you can set. You can set it such that it only takes up a certain amount of memory, only will cache up to a certain number of records. You'll start throwing the older stuff away such that it doesn't run your disk out. All of these things are already implemented in the forwarder for you. You just have to use it.
Is that the same for the SQL agents?
Yes.
Like on our central instance, does it have similar configs, kind of like that? Like it'll cache.
It's all
Yes.
the base history.
Yeah, it's all from the base. Yep.
Base history and configuration. So if you look up base history and documentation, that should have the list of configurations.
Cool. Great. All right. Good to know. Thank you. Learned something new today. That's all I have. I was kind of curious to ask one more thing. Like if I use the platform.driver, the REST API driver a little bit, where I usually just like, it's kind of like some boilerplate code in there, and I just kind of monkey around with it and modify it enough to that it works good enough for like the REST API that I'm trying to hit. So that's like a different topic, right? Like in my agent, I'm using the analysis topic. But what is the default topic that the platform.driver uses? Like if you're using the REST API driver?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
The driver will
Because
always
the driver
publish
will-
things beginning with devices.
Devices. All right. Maybe if we got like 3 minutes. Is that okay if I kill it? Or maybe we should save it for
Kill
different.
what?
Can I share my screen again?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, the documentation for those configurations for the historians is also in the chat.
So like this is like analysis topic. And then this is okay.
You're not
so-
sharing your screen, so.
Oh,
just FYI.
okay. Oops. Oh no. Okay, so just like getting back to like, so is my agent that I was just showing for like the I'm publishing on the analysis topic for that calculation in my agent, and then the platform.driver, the REST API driver is publishing on this by default.
Yeah, the actual topic on the message bus is going to be devices / whatever, if it's coming from the driver. The historian will drop the word devices from the beginning when it stores it. Yeah, same with analysis. If analysis is the first word of the topic on the message bus, it will drop that when it puts it in the database.
So your analysis, having
Yeah.
the string analysis in there does not do anything as far as making it an analysis topic.
Okay. Fair enough.
Syntactically for the historian. I mean, for you, it may do something.
All right. Cool. Okay. I guess that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just to be clear too, that
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, just to be clear, that that topic on the message bus for the devices, it begins with the word devices, and then you have everything in the topic except for the point name. The point name comes from the key of the dictionary. That's the message. So it'll take a dictionary of things. You've got, A, B, and C as keys. The topic will be devices / your topic. And then in the database, it will become your topic / A, your topic / B, your topic / C.
It has to end with the all in order for that to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Which from the driver, it will. It'll begin devices, it'll end with all.
Sounds great.
Yeah, Ben, please look at the link that Dave has shared and then reach out to us if you have any more questions.
Sounds great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're at the end of the hour, so we're going to end the meeting, I guess. Thank you for joining, and if you have any other questions, please reach out to us, the usual email. Thanks, guys. See you in the next office hours. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.